best I could do was like 7 chicken fried steaks.
7 chicken fried steaks. Hey, y'all, this is Ryan Monceaux, and I'm taking over for a little bit for Towns on the Talk Around Towns. Before we get to all the stuff we have to talk about, talk with Lydia, Lily. Good Lord. I'm rusty. I haven't done this in a while. Y'all hang with me. Star Pizza. Lydia Lasprilla, women's golf coach, will be here. We're going to talk about Todd Whitting departing after 16 years. It's official visit season in football. It is NBA Combine just happened. There is a ton going on around U of H. But before we get to all that, Star Pizza, it meets you where you are. If you want the Maryland like I do, pepperoni, onions, Canadian bacon, they're going to give it to you. If you want a vegetarian option, they're going to give it to you. Cauliflower crust, fine. Vegan pepperonis, fine. If you want to be like Brad and pretend to like salads, fine. It's okay. They're going to meet you where you are. Go to Star Pizza. They support U of H. They support all of us. It's where you need to be. And also, good people at Section 12X. Something crazy is happening at 8:30 tonight. A crazy discount coming. Section 12X, we're going to give it to you right here. Hang out for that just a little while. So now I am going to talk to, y'all know I don't root for teams. I root for people. That's what is important to me. If you're a good person, if I like seeing you compete, I root for you. Lydia might be the person I root for most. I love her, like unabashedly so. She is awesome. This is Coach Lydia, formerly Gum, Lasprilla. Coach, how can you turn your camera to the side? Because that's a little crazy looking. This is going to look so much better, I promise, or not.
That way?
Yeah, eventually it's going to, maybe, do you have it locked? Maybe you have it locked.
That way? Or that way?
Well, I guess we're going to go this way because that didn't work. This is sort of an introduction to a lot of people to women's golf, to college golf, really. I think college golf is awesome. I think women's college golf is more relatable to me in my game than the men's game. I don't hit it 360. I don't do what they do. I don't play 68 or 7,800 yard courses either. But the women's game, I understand it. It looks like my game. Just to start, to introduce you to people, you're probably the most accomplished player of the head coaches at U of H. Is that, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to talk good about yourself, but you've won, I believe, the Kentucky State Championship twice. You won it maybe in college, and then you went and just did it a couple years ago. Is that fair? Is that right?
That is right. Thank you.
You qualified for the state tournament as a third grader. I was still wearing Velcro shoes, but you're qualifying for state tournaments. All-state 10 times, Miss Kentucky 6 times. I don't understand. You come from a coaching family, right? Your dad is a pretty legendary baseball coach.
I do. My dad's a baseball coach. My grandpa was he actually had the most wins of any baseball coach in the state of Kentucky. I think he had close to 1,100 wins. And my uncle's a baseball coach. My football coaches, we have all kinds of coaches in our family. So I feel like I learned a lot from my dad for sure.
But you're the first one taking a team to the NCAA tournament.
I
right?
am, and I'm so
How's it-
excited.
How fun is that?
It's awesome.
You grew up in the Louisville area. You got to go back there and do this last week. Tell me about that experience from your shoes.
Honestly, I think that was one of the best weeks of my entire life. It was really, really special to be back home. I saw so many people that I have not seen in a long time. Lots of my family came, my parents, people from like my high school athletic director that I had not seen in 15 or 16 years.
Wow.
it was really, really cool to be back home, and we just had so many people there supporting us, which was really special.
You got to do it with a pretty senior laden team, athletes, players that you've had for years and years. What is it like going through what you have with these players and accomplishing something that no one's ever done here?
It's hard to put into words. I feel like it's something that we recruited these players to Houston to do. We've talked about it a lot. I mean, every year it's like, can they do it this year? Can they do it this year? And um, I've told everyone all year long, this team is special. They're really, really good. Just getting them to play well at the right time all together, which is very
Hmm.
hard in team
Yeah.
golf. But to see them do that in postseason last week, the week before at the Big 12 championship, um, I think it's proven it's not a fluke, it's not a coincidence. They're really a strong team, and I'm just so proud of them for what they've accomplished. This group really deserves it. They're an outstanding group from 1 to 8. All the
Okay.
girls are just a joy to be around, and it was awesome.
So let's back a bit and kind of explain college golf. So
Hmm.
you take 5 players to a tournament, all of them play, 4 scores count. This is a system that was invented by Dave Williams, the head coach here for 36 years, won 16 national titles. It's used in 99% of college golf tournaments.
Hmm.
So when you have 5 players out there on the course, what do you consider your job to be?
I think it varies on the day, really.
Okay.
Sometimes our strategy is to stand on the hardest holes, which we can, we're always looking at stats and the data all week long to see which holes are playing the toughest. So sometimes we're on those. Sometimes one of the girls needs someone to walk with them for a few holes to get them back on track. Sometimes we each walk with the player. It just depends, but really our goal is to help them have their best day, whatever that looks like. And every player is very different. Some need a lot and some don't need much at all. So it's just, building those relationships and really knowing what works for each player to get the best out of them each round.
I could see a lot of players wanting that coach there, helping them out. I would say, leave me alone. Just there's 4 other players, go hang out with them. I don't want you, yeah, but yeah. Can you give me sort of an introduction to each of the 5 that you're going to take and your alternate going into this week?
Hmm. So I'll just start with the seniors. Moa is from Sweden. She's arguably been one of the best players that's ever played at Houston. She's had a great career. I think she's won 3 or 4 individual titles. Natalie St. Germain is from Czech Republic, another senior who's had an outstanding postseason run, and also a
A
great
great
career.
year. Yeah.
Great, great career, great year. She won in the fall. Um, just a joy to be around both of those girls, all the girls. Alexa, another senior from Mexico. She won the Mexican Amateur 2 years ago. She's steady as they come. She's just a super hard worker, and you know that she's going to give you good rounds every day. She's never out of it. And then Maylin Kim is a junior from Katy, Texas. She is she probably had the best summer last summer of any amateur golfer in the world. I would argue she won the women's Western Amateur, the women's Southern Amateur. Um, just had an absolutely awesome summer. Has had a great year. I think she strung off 3 or 4 top fives this spring. Played great in Louisville. Very, very solid. And then our last player that's going in the lineup is Amelia Vaisto from Finland. So she's a sophomore. She transferred in from Mercer. She was the
Hmm.
conference freshman of the year last year at Mercer, and she's awesome. She's a great player. Hits it a long, long ways. I think she has no idea how good she really is. But she's been great for us. Great to be around, and I'm really excited for her future.
Natalie St. Germain, you say great career, which is completely accurate, but she has had a year. She stepped up as a senior which you see so often. But she has stepped up and played phenomenally this year. I think she's got 3 top 10s in a row. Big time effort at the Big 12. Great effort in Louisville. What is it about her emergence? What has she done? How has she stepped into that role?
Yeah, she really has had a great last few events. And she had a really good fall. She won the Jim West tournament, and then I
Hmm.
think she came back this spring. We had some really good conversations. I think just was putting a lot of pressure on herself, knowing that this is it. This is senior
Yeah.
year. I want to do great. I want to leave my legacy kind of thing. And I think she was able to let go of that a little bit these last month and a half, and just go out there and play free and enjoy it, and know that, a tournament in April is not going to define her a year down the road. And I've been so proud of how she's handled her business, and she's just such a calm presence on the golf course. She's really enjoyed it. I think these
Hmm.
last couple weeks, um, no one would know this, but final round, the night before the final round at Big 12s, she's in the lead and had a massive heat exhaustion. I was in the hospital with her until about 10 p.m. And she
Wow.
comes back the next day and shoots 1 or 2 under or whatever she shot, just like nothing happened. It's like she's pretty unfazed. She's super strong. Um, but she's just kept a really good perspective these last few weeks. And I think that's really helped her.
When you went through your starting lineup, you had 5 international players, I believe, and 1 from Katie, Malin Kim.
Mhm.
How do you recruit international players and ensure that they're kind of the right player for this school?
Mhm. For us, we do have a heavy international roster. Next year, we'll have a player from Denmark coming. We also have a Kentucky player coming. Um, I'm always about getting the best people that we can get and the best players, and I really don't care where they're from as long as they fit the culture that we're building here. I think a big pull for internationals is it's easy to get home and it's warm weather and we're a big city. They a lot of the internationals want to go where it's warm with good
Hmm.
facilities and easy travel. So we check a lot of boxes. We go over there maybe once or twice in the summer to the big international events, just like we do here in the US. And it just so happened the way our lineup is right now, we do have a heavy international roster, but um, we're just always looking for the best players and the best people. So
The international players come and play here some in the summer, though, correct?
sometimes they do,
Okay.
but there's, with the international golf programs, almost every country has their own national team,
Hmm.
and most of our players are a part of their national team. So it's unique in the way that they get to go to play all the best events. They have the best coaching. They're in that environment before they even come to college. So it's almost like
Yeah.
they come to college kind of like they've already done what we do, and we become kind of another national team for them. So I think that is definitely something that we pay attention to. Now the U.S. has a national team
Hmm.
finally, but it's definitely helped our girls.
Okay. Uh, I kind of made a deal with a fan that he could come on and talk to you and ask questions. Is that something you're interested in doing?
Sure.
Okay. Fan, welcome to the show.
Coach Lydia,
Coach Sampson?
uh, I'm proud of you, girl.
Oh, thank you. I
What
appreciate you.
what you're doing is amazing. When Ryan asked about me being would I like to do this, that was an easy yes. Um,
It
but
really
Ryan,
was.
now Ryan, Lydia and I played golf twice. One time I played pretty good. The other time you could tell I was in the middle of recruiting season. But the one common denominator that successful people have is ability to relate um, and get their kids to play at a level that maybe they don't believe they can. And one of the things that's impressed me most about Lydia is her ability to get along with just about everybody. And I think that's important in coaching. Wouldn't surprise me that Lydia wins a national championship here one day. So, I'll tell you a quick story about Lydia, though. So, we're playing golf. Where was that we were playing, Lydia?
The last time was Blue Jack, and time before, I think, Brayburn.
So, she said, Coach, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. Can you get me Patty Gasso's cell phone number? You remember that, Lydia?
I do, yes.
And so Patty and I was hired in the same year. I was hired in April as the head coach at University of Oklahoma, and Patty was hired in September. And as I processed that, and I started thinking about it, Lydia, it's amazing how similar you and Patty are. I worked with her and became great friends with her. Her sons never missed a camp. Her husband actually refereed in our camp a lot. But there's a lot of similarities with Patty Gasso and you, Lydia. She didn't inherit a championship program. She built a championship program. You didn't inherit a championship program, but you're building a championship program. And I was at an event the other night, and Eddie made a great statement about the success of all our programs. But I'm telling you, the program that got the most applause was the University of Houston's women's golf program. So there you go, girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. You've always given me so much good wisdom and guidance, and I can't thank you enough.
Well, I'm gonna have to start tapping. I'm gonna have to start tapping into you here pretty soon.
No, I won't tell any stories about some of those golf shots you hit.
Please don't.
He's got some of the best one-liners in the world, but I love you and I appreciate you, so thank you.
You're welcome. And Ryan, thanks for thinking of me and asking me to do this. I had two people on call to call me I had one guy say, call me at 8, and another one to call me at 8:05, so I didn't forget.
I appreciate that, Coach. I thought she'd like to see you.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Tell me what's next, Lydia. What is the next step?
So we're leaving on Tuesday to San Diego for nationals. So first round starts on Friday.
What course?
We're playing Omni La Costa.
Oh, La Costa.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a desert course?
Kind of. It is, but it's hilly, so it's a good track. We played there last year with one of our girls made it. It's really nice.
Well, good luck. Can't wait to follow your girls and go kick some butt now.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was Kelvin Sampson.
Ryan. That was
yeah,
awesome.
How about that? That was fun. He stole my next question, unfortunately, so we're just going to sit here and look at each other for a little while. Tell me about La Costa, what you know about it, and how does it fit what your players do?
Yeah, I think it's a great course. Fortunately, with Moa making it last year as an individual, we got to walk it 5 days in a row. So I got to see a lot of it. The greens are pretty new, so they were really firm last year. I think they'll be a little bit more receptive this year, but it's a great track. It's challenging for sure. It's going to play a little bit longer, as it always does once we get to this time of the year. But everything's right in front of you. There's a couple holes where there's multiple tee boxes that they'll change throughout the week. So I think we have a good plan in place. We're going to see it 2 times before we tee off on Friday, so that'll help. But we're really, really looking forward to it. I think it'll set up good for us.
Is this a situation where you play 18 twice, or are you going to play 9 and focus, and maybe the next day play the other 9?
So Thursday we'll play 18, and we're allowed to walk the course on Wednesday. So we'll
Okay. Okay.
trying to decide what we're going to do there. We've got some donors and good friends that are going to have us out at the farms on Wednesday. So we're going to play 9 there, which is awesome. And
Yeah.
just try to keep it light and fun. And then go out to La Costa. We're actually staying on property there. So we'll get to see it and get a good idea of what we're getting into.
You led the Big 12 and the regional, I believe, going into the final round both times. That's correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're leading, going that night before, what's the message? And then what's the message the next morning? And then it kind of got tough for you in the back 9 of those 2 tournaments. What are you doing to try to steady your players and get to that finish line?
Yeah, I think the Big 12 event was great prep for what we just went through at regionals. And really, the final round of Big 12s, we didn't play too bad. We played pretty solid. Iowa State played really, really good out of the gate.
They
And
really did.
then, unfortunately, I wish we could get hole 17 and 18 back at Dallas Athletic Club. But I think being in that position and feeling the nerves and all of that was good. And then we did a couple practices before we went to Louisville, just trying to get our heart rates up and practice putting when you are nervous. And so we did a lot of that. And then this final round at regionals, they were trying to hold on to that because you don't want to let it slip. And that's probably the most stressful day of the year coaching, is because you've just got to get in the top 5. Of course, we
Right.
wanted to win regionals, absolutely, but the main goal was get in the top 5 and get out of there, right? So I think that final round was different than any other round we've ever played because you are holding on to something. And our girls knew that. And coming down the stretch there, you could feel it. They knew it and they were asking. But what a great opportunity and great experience to do that. And the cool thing about nationals is we're not holding on to anything. We've
Mm-mm.
kind of done that part and we get to go play. And I'm really excited to see how they perform in that kind of setting too.
I really, watching that Big 12, my mother had surgery Thursday, but Wednesday they had to put a stent in and they put her on a general anesthesia. And so she was out. And when she woke up, she was groggy and I was there, and she looked up at me and she said, "How did the women do?" And that's the first thing she said to me. Like, not, "Oh, it's good to see you, I'm glad I'm alive," but how'd the women do? I'm like, they held on. They got it done.
I need
And
to meet
it was-
her. That's awesome.
Yes, you do. She's great. She's watching this. Hi, Mom. And she's feeling a lot better. So that's good. But watching that Wednesday, you had a player, Malin Kim, who had been in the top 5 and struggled in that final round. But she comes down on 18 and makes a birdie for you, I believe. And her score was not going to count, but she put that score in where your floor pretty much sealed the deal for you. And so she was the one in that pressure situation that impressed me the most. She didn't have a good day, but she got it done to give you the floor for your score and basically got you there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go
Our dog
ahead,
just
please,
barked, but
please.
I was just a quick note on Maylin. She played really well at the Big 12 championship as well, coming down the stretch. I know she too wishes she could get 17 back, but that whole final round, she made some really key birdies. And I think it's been really fun to watch her this postseason too, just fight every single round. And the second round of regionals, I think she was 5 or 6 under too, just like it was nothing, but she sure has stepped up too. I'm really proud of her.
Yeah. Last thing, I believe you were here for Leonie Harm's final year.
Mhm.
Leonie broke through today and won at the German Masters. What do you remember about her? What is your relationship, and what do you think about her getting that done? I believe she was U of H's first ever NCAA participant. And
She
now in this
was.
same week, when y'all are finally breaking through, here she is getting it done herself.
I'm so proud of her. We have a great relationship. In fact, every time she comes back to Houston, she normally stays with us for about a
Oh,
week at our house.
nice.
She was here not too long ago when they had the LET event. But yeah, no one deserves it more. If you know her story, you know that she has been through a lot, and she's a grinder. She never stops, and I'm so proud of her to get it done, especially in Germany where she's from. And
Her home country. Yeah.
yes, I could not be more happy for her.
Yeah. I'm going to just read you some comments you're getting. Congrats to the U of H women's golf team for their success. Kudos to GoCoogs for giving them a spotlight. Let's go. Coach Lydia, I hear your hubby is a cool dude too. He and I are playing on the same day for the CDM qualifier in a week and a half. I'm trying to get it to where we play
Oh,
together. Yeah.
I'm caddying for him,
Are you
so please
really?
do it. Yes, I can't wait.
Huh. Okay.
That would be fun.
Great job, coach. You and the girls did a fabulous job. Keep up the great work. What a time to be a Coug. Legends all around. Man, we need to keep Coach Lydia. And you know Lydia's having great success when Kelvin has that much praise. I'm going to tell you, as somebody that's been on the other side of that, Kelvin does not always praise. And to hear him praise you was really cool. And I'm glad that that worked out how we wanted. Thank you, Coach, for joining us. Good luck this week. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. But good luck this week at La Costa.
Thank you so much. And thank you
All
for
right.
doing that with Coach Sampson too. That was awesome. But I
Yeah.
appreciate you, Ryan. I'll see you in the morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Go
you.
Cougs. Thank you.
GoCoogs.com. That was awesome. I love her. She's one of my favorite people in the world. I just think she's got such an energy and a happiness. She attracts great players. She is a phenomenal player. She won the Kentucky Open like 3 years ago. She went out and shot 63 the first day like it was nothing. She led the Texas Open 2 years ago after a round. I mean, she just can play. And she's become really good as a golf coach. She came here, she was a volunteer, I believe at Louisville, and came here as an assistant, and then just has hammered it as a head coach. And this program has just gotten better and better. They were a shot out of the Nationals 2 years ago, I believe. Really close last year, but got it done this year. I'm going to bring Towns on. I'm going to bring Jayme on. And hello, gentlemen. Star Pizza. Get you some Star Pizza. So it's 8:30. Huge discount coming. Huge. And here it is. 26% off everything. You want a shirt like this. You want the golf hat like this. Go get it. 26% off. Everything in the store is 26% off for U of H golf, women's golf, making it to the national championships in 2026. 26% off. Section 12X, the biggest, craziest sale they've ever had. I texted Frederick the other night after we set up Kelvin for that and said, I want to do something crazy. And I told him what I wanted to do. And he was like, we've never done anything like that. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? It's not my money. What do I care? So anyways, Star Pizza, Section 12X, and the Ritz. Appreciate them all. We're going to move over to the Towns branding. And there we go.
Boom.
Boom.
Nice.
So y'all listened in. What did you think about Lydia, Kelvin? Any thoughts?
I was super impressed with her. That was my first time hearing her speak and just learning a little bit about the program.
Can I ask you a
Yeah.
question?
Absolutely.
What were you doing in third grade?
a little bit of basketball, maybe a little t-ball, stuff like that.
Were you
I guess I was playing-
qualifying for the state tournament in third grade?
I was not.
I
Can
just,
confirm I was
it
not.
blows me away. She set like a state record for a number of times qualified for state, for the number of times of being all state. She was named Miss Kentucky Golf 6 times. That does not happen. And she went to Florida State. She was all ACC. She's been a great player. She's still a great player. She never practices, never practices. The last time I played with her, she was dealing with a recruit and she had an international call and she's like, okay, we can go out now. And I was like, well, go warm up, go hit some putts. She's like, no.
I'm good.
Birdied number 1, birdied number 3. And I'm like, mother, come on, lady. I just destroyed. And I played well and she destroyed me. But man.
Yeah. That would be fun to watch her beat the brakes off you in golf.
Oh, but see, that's the thing, is that I understand. Like, there are people that are better than I am. I like to do my chicken shit and try to compete, but I don't look like them. It doesn't look like them. It's not the same. I mean, she just hits every green. She hits every fairway. She makes every putt. And then she recruits players that do the exact same thing. I've kind of gotten close to some players over the last 6 or 7 years. I've played with them. I played with 2 alums a week or so, 2 weeks ago. Just awesome people. Glad to see them all having success. And, there's going to be some nerves here at La Costa, but I think, they're just on a free roll right now. It's time to just go make it happen. So very happy for them. Jayme, I'm going to remove you for a minute. We're going to do our thing. We haven't done this in a while, Brad. Since we're on this golf topic, the PGA happened today. Aaron Rai wins it. He's a guy from Britain, foreign player, international, we call it now. Great player. Wears 2 black gloves, little suspect. Has iron covers, very suspect.
Yeah.
But on the biggest stage, he just brought it. Destroyed the best players in the world. It's kind of fun
I don't
to
know,
watch.
man. Wearing 2 gloves is kind of money. I was hoping that I would see him wearing like a farmer hat and like long sleeves, just really, really playing into the cool guy, 2 glove iron cover guy.
Yeah. Like the 80s shoes that had that thing that flopped over.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. I
Wearing
don't even
them
know what that's
old
called.
school dress shoes.
Yeah, with wooden soles.
God, man,
Yeah.
those were the
Spikes.
days man, where you just
Yeah.
kill your feet.
Yeah, 6 pounds on your feet. That was awesome. Yeah, the last time I considered iron covers, I was at Service Merchandise. That's how long ago it was. It was like
Yeah.
the 7th grade. And I was like, no, that's so, I can't do that. And there he is on tour.
After college, I caddied at River Oaks Country Club for 1 day, and I carried 2 bags. And it was cool because I got to wear the jumpsuit and everything. The jumpsuit didn't fit, and the pants came up to like my mid calf, which was awesome and kind of hurt and split me in the middle. But it is what it is.
I'm sorry, split you in the middle?
Well, jumpsuit's one piece, so
Got it. With you
short,
now.
it's gonna
With
ride
you now.
real high. Yeah, it looks
Thank
like
you.
I'm smuggling plums. So when I was carrying his bag, dude was rocking Ping Eye 2s with club covers.
Respect. But I mean, that was in the 90s. Ping Eye 2s were still
Well, no, Ping Eye
relatively
2s
new.
were fine, but he had the club covers on him too. And I'm like, come on, dude. Seriously?
Yeah. You caddied for me once at River Oaks Country Club. That didn't go as well.
Was it River Oaks?
Yeah, it was at River Oaks.
Oh, yeah, that's when I broke my back.
Yeah.
I didn't break it,
That was
but
a fun day. Yeah.
nearly slid down the hill.
That was my first time ever hearing from Coach Lydia. I can't say her last name. Her last name was Gum, and it was easy to say, but now it's Lasprilla. My first time hearing from Coach Lydia Lasprilla. Man, she just makes you want to cheer loud for her and her team. That's why I wanted her on here. She is her happiness and her energy is so it's just you can't do anything but just love her, and her players are great. You know, it's somewhat of a cultural change. You know, she mentioned, and I've never really thought about this, the weather. But these girls are from Sweden. Their golf season is like an hour and a half. You're from England. You're just not playing golf 12 months a year. Here, you're barely putting pants on. You're wearing shorts every day. It's just, they come here and it's like, oh, crap. Yeah, of course I want to be there. So
everybody's
anyways,
like, oh, it's cold. It's 40 degrees out. It's like, this is warm for us.
Bikini season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
it's nice. It's nice
Europe.
to see us, our golf coming around and kind of slowly but surely kind of getting there.
Yeah. I mean, competing at the Big 12 is legit in women's golf. You've got several top 10, top 20 programs. U of H was 30th going into the Big 12. They're going to finish a lot higher than that. It's going to be the highest finish in program history. And man, I'm proud of them. I'm happy for them. And that's pretty cool. We're just going to go 5 wide right here. Joseph Duarte in the dark. Martin Marroquin. Jayme is back. Guys, we had some news today. Duarte was the first out with it, that Todd Whitting was not returning. It really wasn't news for U of H fans. It certainly wasn't news for you if you watch our shows. But Duarte, what did you hear? What do you know? How you doing? Or not?
I think he's on mute.
Okay, let's try to unmute yourself. I can't do it. You have to do it. Awesome.
Hey, you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us? Maybe he can't hear us.
I can,
Maybe he can't. Okay. Why don't you refresh and come back in, and we'll get to you in a minute. Jayme, what are your thoughts on U of H baseball making the change at the top?
It's time.
I'm just going to keep this away from Brad as long as I can, because I think there are going to be thoughts.
No, I've been closing out every show just talking about how exciting it is around Houston athletics right now. Basketball rolling, football rolling, men's, women's golf rolling. But yeah, we have one program that's struggled a bit, so it's probably time.
More than one.
And yeah, no, it's time. So it'll be interesting to see what JD has on the coaching carousel and who might be in the mix. I know he's already taken one name off that a lot of our fans were talking about recently, so we'll let him get to that. But no, I think I'll be excited to see who comes in and changes the face of the program.
Yes, I can confirm through sources that it will not be Brad Towns. They gave him a once-over and said, nah.
Uniforms aren't that big.
No, there is some plums there as well.
Can't afford the food bill.
Nope. All right. I think Duarte's back. He's bigger faced. There we go. He just looks so much bigger in the preview, but no, he's normal. Okay. Joseph, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
God damn. So
you found lights. What the heck?
You can't hear me?
Yeah,
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay.
We're right here.
All right, buddy. It's been a long travel day. I took a detour. So
Uh-oh. What do you mean detour?
I cut through from San Antonio, went past Austin, made a few stops, family. And now I'm just getting back to Houston.
Okay. What did you hear today? How was your day? How was San Antonio? Did you get your tamales? What's going on?
That's so wrong.
You have a
But you-
tamale
hey,
place in San Antonio.
I
do you
do,
not?
but you know it's not as good anymore. I was disappointed, so
Okay.
we didn't stop this time. But you know, I want to go back. You mentioned Linda, which I hope she's doing well. And when she
Yeah.
woke up, you said she asked how the women's golf team did, which is great.
Yeah.
But then she looked at you and she said, "You're not Duarte."
No, she was hoping Duarte was there to
Well, I
tend to
send my
her
best
needs.
to Linda. I send my
Thank you.
best. I hope she's doing well. But
She's
no,
doing great.
but today, yeah, a lot of big news today.
Okay.
I think news that people have been waiting for quite some time.
Okay. What you got? Do you have anything to share? Anything new?
I mean, nothing new. I mean, this is the process has begun. So, I mean, you just like any baseball or any sports coaching search, you know, you're going to have. I'm sure Eddie Nunez has a preliminary list of candidates that he'll eventually reach out to. You know how this thing works. I mean, there's probably been some indirect contact with prospective candidates. Already, you know, if you go down the list, but you know, some of the names that we've heard for some time are names that I'm hearing right now. You know, guys like you know, UT's Texas's associate coach Nolan Kane, you know, the coach from Lamar, Will Davis. You know, I've heard you know, Pat, I can tell you one name that's not on the list, Pat Hallmark, UTSA. I know a lot of fans are interested in him. That's not on the table right now. That could change, but the interest is not there from the Houston side, I'm being told. So that's one minor
That's interesting.
development, I guess. Yeah. And then you go down some of the other names that are out there. I've seen, you know, I was told that the McNeese State coach, I believe his name is Justin Hill, he could be in the mix. And then I was also told that there's going to be several current assistant coaches that are on Power Four programs that are really good Power Four program that will get a look or possibly get interviewed. So they're going to cast a pretty wide net on this. And, you know, after you have only gone through a coaching search twice in the last 32 years, which is amazing to me, you're going to now you should take your time on this. And I think Eddie Nunez with his background will have you know, a lot of interest. This is a good job, and if the resources are there, and you look at what they have from the facility that they use, I can't see why there wouldn't be some people lining up for this job.
And how
Two
you
searches ago, Brad was a player.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It
Yeah.
wasn't there. Honestly, there hasn't been a search since Brad Stockton got here. Came from
That's
TCU.
true. That's
Because
true.
Yeah, because Rayner was
Rayner was dialed in, and Todd was really the only shot whenever he took over for Rayner. I mean, there really hasn't been a search. So this is the first time we're really looking at outside people.
Yeah,
And
and I don't think there's going to be anybody with ties that's going to get looked at. You know, now if this was a year ago, I think David Pierce, who took the Rice job, would have been the kind of candidate they would have been interested in. But you know that ship sailed. You know, a year too late if they were interested. He's done a great job at Rice. So yeah, you're gonna have some new blood injected into this program.
Okay.
It needs it. It needs a complete refresh.
Yeah. Okay, Brad. Tell us your thoughts about what happened today.
It's been a long time coming. This program has been going downhill for 7 years.
8.
We were last
But yeah.
we were last in the top 50. I mean, you know, we still made the tournament in 2018. We made it as a 3 seed in North Carolina. Played pretty well in the tournament. The next year we had a 42 RPI, put us on the bubble, and we didn't make it in because our schedule was just terrible. But since then, it's just gone downhill, and it kept getting worse. I mean, I think we've been in the last 7 years, we've been in the top. We haven't been in the top 50 in RPI. we've been an afterthought when it comes to postseason. We spent more time in the hundreds in RPI than we have outside of that. The program just completely fell off, and I know a lot of excuses are about moving up to the Big 12. Okay, guess who's competing in the Big 12 right now? UCF and Cincy, our old buddies. Been with them for a long time. Those, I think Cincinnati's 22 in the RPI. I think they're tied for third in the conference. UCF, I believe, is 32 in the RPI. So those guys are shoe-ins. Last year, the Big 12 had 8 teams in the tournament. You don't have to win the title. You don't have to compete 1 and 2 like we did in the American. Now just have a good record. Play a decent conference or a decent non-conference. And guess what? You make the tournament. That's the goal. The goal's the tournament. And since it expanded into 64 teams in the mid-late 90s,
98.
Since it expanded to 64, there's no reason that U of H should not be in the tournament 5 out of 6 years. I mean, that's just, there's too much talent. There's too much opportunity here. I'm just glad.
Ryan,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Brad. Ryan, within 2 years of when I got on the beat, U of H baseball around May was the place to be. I mean, they were hosting regionals. They were winning 40-plus games a year. They were contending. They were ranked.
Schedule.
I remember the super regional. Yeah, but they were good. And you looked at the go down the list. You could talk about. I mean, they had one of the best pitching staffs in the nation, at least ERA wise, and who was coaching them at the time with Frank Anderson. So I mean, this is a program that once after 18, it was a steep decline because at one point they were a team that you could in the American count on that was going to be there every single year. And you talk about the Big 12 and competing. The team at the top, Kansas, has one of the least funded.
Yes.
NIL type situations of any team out there. Now, I will clarify this. I put out a tweet today saying that Todd had one of the worst or the worst in the Big 12. That's true in one sense because the way it was framed to me, a lot of these schools in the Big 12 are clumped together. It's not a millions gap in terms of from the top to the bottom. We're talking 100,000 here, something like that. But a lot of the schools are pulling back resources, how it was explained to me today. So, I don't know if that's sort of trying to put lipstick on a pig, but you basically what it was conveyed to me today was that even though U of H's NIL situation isn't at the top, it's not as far off as maybe people think.
Correct. And we use a lot of excuses, and resources is always the most fun excuse. We couldn't afford to win in football until we did. We couldn't afford to win in basketball until we did. And guess what? Willie didn't start off with a huge bankroll. Kelvin didn't start off with a huge bankroll. Over time, things build up. People fund success. Schools get behind success. And the job here is attractive enough to get somebody here that is willing to dig in and build something. And the opportunity is huge, and it's better than it's ever been because now you're able to at least recruit off of being in a great conference. It's Big 12 right now is ranked number 3 in the conference RPI. You're going to play good teams. And the fact that Kansas is up there, now granted, Kansas has a really, really good coach, longtime assistant at DBU, has done a phenomenal job. And he was a coach that I really hoped that we could have possibly got 3 or 4 years ago, but now he's making close to $1 million because he's had so much success at Kansas, and he topped it off with a conference title this year. So that's gone. But there's no reason that a coach can't do here what has been done there, or what has been done at Cincy, or what has been done at UCF, or what has been done at UTSA, or what has been done at Dallas Baptist, or what has been done at all these other smaller schools with no budget. You can succeed in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's some structural things that have to increase. That's going to need more funding, not just NIL. Let's just put NIL off to the side because that's going to be extra. But the biggest question for Eddie is going to be, how are you going to fund the scholarship scenario? Baseball has always been 11.7 scholarships, which really made it a wide open field. A lot of teams
Yes.
compete with that because there's just not enough money to go around. I mean, it was pretty common back in my day if guys were here on books. As long as you got your books paid for, hey, cool, we're coming. These days, you have to have, 30% at least minimum?
30% of what?
30% scholarship? So it's got to be more than
yes.
books.
Everybody, and you can have a roster of 35 scholarships.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need 35. I mean, major league rosters are 26. So come on now.
Yeah.
But we're going to need more than the 15 apparently allegedly that we have right now. How much more? I don't know. It's going to be up to the coach. I'll look at all the different coaches out there that have been mentioned. Kendall Rogers brought up Derek Matlock at UTRGV. Lane Burrows at La Tech. I liked him a few years ago, not as much now. Mike Silva at Arkansas State. Rob Childress.
What do you think about Childress?
This is just my personal bias. I love Rob Childress.
Okay.
I mean, two guys that I like the most that probably won't happen are Rob Childress and Matt Deggs at Louisiana. I like them both. I've crossed paths with them back in the day, and I just followed their careers, and I've really appreciated what they've been able to do. Bask in it, baby.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, if it's me, I'm picking up the phone and calling Dan Hefner and just asking, "Hey, you want to come down?" You never know. You never know the impact of expanded scholarships and NIL. What it's going to have on different programs. Will Davis at Lamar. He's interesting. He's got a long
Time
history.
out. Tell me your fun fact about Will Davis.
I don't have one. Oh, he's a distant cousin of Paul Prudhomme.
This makes me happy and excited, and I'm all about Will Davis now. Go ahead.
Hey, I'll say this. This tells you something about the dude. Married to a former Golden Girl from LSU. That tells me dude can recruit. You can recruit a Golden Girl. You can recruit anybody for anything. So that's a thumbs up right there. But no, looking at his career is interesting. Lamar is not elite, and they're not even great, but they're good and they're improving each year.
Tough place to play.
Huh?
Tough place to go and play.
Well, and the most interesting thing about it, his best 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons, he's done really well, but he's done it in the NIL environment, which you would think would be the opposite. So, like Dan Hefner at DBU, DBU is struggling this year for their level, for their expectations. And you could chalk that up to maybe it's an NIL problem, or maybe it's a funding problem. Who knows? But this guy's having success. So it's interesting. We can judge everything on paper and say this guy's going to be good, 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 but you never really know. And this is where my hopes for Eddie come in with having some baseball exposure and being on the selection committee in New Mexico.
And being at LSU and dealing with that for 15 years. You've seen what matters, and you've seen how important college baseball can be.
Right. The thing that's going to separate the candidates is what is their plan?
Yeah.
What's their vision? How are they going to be able to execute on their vision? Now, if the first part of the conversation, it revolves around money and resources, then it's probably going to be a pass, because that's not going to happen here. But this is a place that you can succeed off a lesser budget than a lot of people think. I'm not saying we're going to have no money, but we don't have to have Arizona State money. We don't have to have Texas money or Texas Tech money that are in our conference. We just got to compete. And we're probably going to end up, I mean, let's be real financially, we're probably going to end up with a guy who is going to have to go for a prospect, I believe.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. You can bring in Rob Childress, and he's not a prospect. You bring in Matt Deggs, he's not a prospect. These guys are proven winners.
The only thing that matters is this person hungry? Do they still want it? If it's a Deggs or a Childress, do they still want it?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a younger guy, what's your plan? If you just said it, it's exactly right. If your first thought is, what about the money? We're not the U of H is not for you. You should go somewhere else, because if your first thought is money at U of H, you've already lost. It's over. If your thought is, what can I do? What are what can we build together? Here's my plan. Here's what I want to do. Here's the things I've always wanted to put into place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm interested. I'm listening. And, Eddie is not coming. He didn't start today. He didn't wake up today and was like, oh, crap, the baseball team's not very good. Maybe we should make a change.
Right.
They've known. They've got a plan. Recruiting a head coach is not linear. It's a lot of moving parts. And at some point, you just got to go with your gut on a guy. That's where Eddie makes his money. And, and this is not going to be a quick fix. This program since 2019 has turned over like 20 to 30 guys a year looking for the quick fix.
For the portal.
Right, before the portal. So you're turning over hundreds of guys over 7 years. Something over, I think it's around 200 guys that have just churned through here. And that can't happen. Obviously, with the portal and with NIL, you're going to have some movement. It's just going to happen. But if you're ever going to compete on any level, you got to fund scholarships. And, I think if you ramp it up, okay, we can do 23 this year, and then we'll do 25 in a year, and then we'll get to 30 in 3 years, right? U of H is making more media money. That can happen. That can be realistic. But it's not a quick fix.
No. Here's where I see a lot of opportunity out there is that while teams are going to jump in immediately with 34 scholarships, and they're going to go out and lock down a lot of talent. There's going to be a lot of talent pulled off the market. Guess what? Those guys are going to be sitting.
Mm-hmm.
You're not playing a lot of dudes. You're not playing a lot of dudes in college baseball. You're going to play. You got 3 for the weekend, 2 midweeks. Then you got 3 relievers, and then usually you got 11 guys that may or may not play in the field. After that, I mean, you've got a whole second team, and guess what? Everybody sits the bench. I mean, you might get some quality at bats against Bethune-Cookman on a Tuesday, but you're going to have dudes who are getting full rides, who are going and being excited about that full ride and they're buried 4 deep at shortstop. They're buried, they're buried on the pitching staff, and they might get 2 innings. Year one, with everybody, or not everybody, but with a lot of the SEC and a lot of the Big 12 throwing 34 scholarships out there, players are going to load up because, it's always been 11.7. And with more scholarships, more money, it looks very attractive until you spend most of your midweek picking freaking splinters out of your butt. So those guys are going to hit the portal within a year or two. So those guys are going to be available and ready to play, which plays perfect into where we're at, because if they were quality players, you want those guys playing for you, and they'll be able to jump in a rebuild. You're looking at a lot of starting positions, wide open.
That's what I was going to ask, Brad, is what, if you were in charge, where would you start on the rebuild? Are you let's get our pitching staff, or let's get hitters? You like play small ball? What would be your game plan?
Shit, no.
Opposite field counts.
My philosophy in baseball is that the less the coach does during the game, the better.
Yeah.
Prepare them to go out and do their job, and then get the hell out of the way.
Brad prefers all of his head coaches to get thrown out while he's given the lineup. Like, here it is, you ref, gets thrown out, and then the players just go play. That's all he wants.
You earn it by, hey, we'll play a lot of inter squad games, and you're going to earn your time there. You're going to get a shot to prove it. And then once we get our lineup going, I would just put it out there and let those guys go. You're not going to see me bunt in the 3rd fucking inning. You're not going to see me suicide squeezing with men on 2nd and 3rd in the 5th inning. Screw that. Dip and drive. We're going yard. Chicks dig the long ball. That's just the way it is. But honestly, we're so far away from being even decent that I'm taking best available. Give me a good pitcher, sure, I'll take it. Give me a good hitter, sure, I'll take it. And let me get 4 or 5 more of those.
You gotta think that if you get the right guy in, with the transfer portal being available now, rebuilding a team in Houston, Texas should be, a lot easier than it was 5 years ago, for sure.
The crazy thing about baseball, in college baseball, and it has been this way for a long time, it's been a transfer portal. It had basically a transfer portal than everybody, because all those scholarships for the longest time were just 1-year deals, and you can come in on a certain amount of money, and you can have that yanked, and so then you can either play for free or you can go transfer to somewhere else. So movement is not uncommon. The only thing that changes for coaches going forward is that at one time they had to manage a salary cap of 11.7 scholarships. Now they have to manage a salary cap of NIL dollars.
More.
Yeah.
Actual cash out of pocket. But I think the opportunity is wide open here. There's so much talent in the city of Houston, and I'm not talking about the top end talent, because the top end talent's probably not going to come here. You can get lucky and grab maybe one.
Not at first.
No, not at first. You've got to build it up. But there's so much depth of talent, and baseball's a sport where players can completely change over time. So you got to have not just a coach who can identify the immediate top line talent, the one that's all the scouts are going to sit behind the dugout and everybody's going to say the same name. Anybody can identify the best player. I want coaches, and U of H could really succeed with a coach who can identify who's going to be a great player in a few years. And I think Trip Couch in his earlier days here was one of the best at doing that. He could
100%.
He could pick a guy and project them of where they're going to be. Brad Sullivan was a great high school player, but maybe not someone you thought was going to be top of the first round type guy. Ryan Wagner, similar type deal. There's just so much talent. A guy that comes here will connect with the high school players. They're going to connect with all the JUCO coaches in the state. They're going to connect with all the summer league coaches. And the newer evolution as far as people you need to connect with are all the massive amount of trainers out there, guys who are running specialty, schools that didn't exist, back in the 90s, early 2000s, at least not this level. But I mean, you've got baseball factories out there that, they're going to point you to, and these are really top quality minds of baseball. They can help direct you to a guy who's under the radar, guy who could probably develop over time. The guy who, is in high school, he started off throwing, 83, 84, he's pumped it up to 80, 85, 87, but has the room to get up in the mid 90s just based on frame and development. Guys who might be underdeveloped physically. So, there's a million different ways you can attack this. There's tons of talent in JUCO. There's tons of talent that's going to be in the portal. But my number one thing for a coach is he's got to make players better.
Yes.
And he's got to have
players.
It's really simple. Willie Fritz has got the phrase: recruit, retain, and develop. You got to find somebody that fits that type of mentality. Because you've got Kelvin, the builder. You've got Willie Fritz, who's a builder, spent his entire career building. You're going to look for the same guy in this search. So it's pretty exciting to think about.
For sure.
Brad, if I could jump in real quick.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No. I was just going to talk shit.
Go ahead, Ryan.
We hired Brad specifically for hiring a new baseball coach. That was the only thing we brought him on for. And it's just it's never happened. And finally, he's got his chance. So I'm excited for him, and he's talked a lot. Go ahead, Joseph Duarte from the
I
Houston
wanted to go
Cougar.
back. What are the obvious names that I forgot to mention that will and should get a look? Chris Lemoynes. He was at Mississippi State. His name has been on the list. So so he'll be a guy to look after. And going back to kind of the coach and what you can land, let's take like a Nolan Kane, for instance. If I'm not mistaken, Todd made $450,000 in his last year. Nolan Kane probably makes at least that, if not more, at Texas right now. And if you look at his track record, he's been at LSU, he's been at A&M, he's been at Texas. Those are some big programs. Those are big, deep pocket programs. So a guy like that, you have to wonder if coming into a school that maybe hasn't put in the resources or doesn't currently have it, is that the fit? Will he sort of be all in on that? So I think, the finance part of it is going to be key. Some of the names that have been thrown out there, I think, are guys that fit the number in terms of salary that Houston has either paid, or I would expect they go up some in this one. I don't know how much higher they can afford to go, but they're not going to get a quality coach or candidate if they don't raise the pool of money there. So there's a lot of ways they can go. I wonder at some of the names, especially guys that are at established programs right now that are on the head coaching track, but maybe don't necessarily, maybe they wait just because of the not just the salary that they would get, but the resources that are in place. Maybe they just think that there'd be a better situation somewhere else. And Brad will like this. I'm a pitching guy. If I had to build my team, I'd start with pitching. You give me a couple of good starters, a middle guy, a back end of rotation, and let's go win some 3-2 games.
Sure.
That's my philosophy.
3-2 with 3 solo jacks, or I'm cool with that.
Hey, if we have to single them to death, so be it.
I would just like our guys to get some base hits, mix in some hits every now and then. That's been a rare occasion.
Brad's
and
a big fan.
We'll be patient.
Brad loves to bunt in the third inning. He really likes the small ball.
there's one thing that's been brutally consistent for 16 years is our teams swing the bat like a pool noodle, except for a few years with what's his name, who went back to Tennessee.
With Frank.
No. Well, the other
the
one,
hitting
no,
guy,
the other one,
the one that came in.
I can't remember his name.
As
It
far,
doesn't matter.
let's go back to Lemonis.
Yeah, let's do.
I don't know how real it is, but I'm going to give a big hell no. Yes, won a World Series. Went to the College World Series the year before that, or the year before that was COVID. Then, so the year before that. Anyway, that wasn't his team. That was built by somebody else. And the only reason why Lemonis got to the World Series and got that was off the backs of those players. If not for off-field indiscretions, they would have never changed coaches at Mississippi State. Since then, as his players came through, they completely collapsed. Okay, so you look at Jay Johnson at LSU. If he had 3 more seasons like this, he's untouchable. I mean, he's radioactive at LSU because LSU fell off the map this year. I just no. I wasn't a big fan of his at Indiana. He did well at Indiana and made three regional appearances. I wasn't a big fan of his at Indiana. And I definitely wasn't a fan of his at Mississippi State. I don't think anybody at Mississippi State is going to tell you Coach Lemonade was very good.
No, not fans. Duarte.
I don't know.
Well, let's move on because we know your feelings, and I actually feel the exact same way. That is not my first choice. And you saw what he was the last 3 or 4 years at Mississippi State. Duarte, any reason or any idea why U of H does not have interest in Pat Hallmark?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could, I think some of it has to do with the public, I don't know if it's perception or, I mean, just for instance, this past week, a little bit of the dust up that he had with Texas State. I just think that there's no connection between the people that are going to be doing the hiring at Houston and Pat Hallmark. I just don't think that there's people inside the department that feel like he's the right fit.
Okay.
And you can kind of read between the lines on that. It just seems like there's maybe they've seen some things. Pat's great. I dealt with Pat at Rice. I covered
Rice
when he was at Wayne Graham's staff, him and Pierce and those guys. Great coach. Done a hell of a job at UTSA. They just locked him up to an extension, if I'm not mistaken, a pretty good one in the past year.
Last year, because his contract was up, if I remember.
And that was a weird situation because I don't think he had signed it or there was some weirdness going on with the contract, but they finally got it resolved. But yeah, I just think that when Houston cast that net out there, they're just going to go in a different direction. And it's nothing against him in terms of what he's done on the field. I just think that they don't see that as the right fit.
Well, I'll say this. I'm gonna in my mind, I'm gonna tell myself that it's because he got a brand new contract and the buyout is not advantageous for us, and he also isn't very interested because he wants a bigger job. Because if we're not interested because of anything outside of that, then I think we're making a mistake. Not saying he's going to be the best fit, best. But he's, as far as quality coaches go, I think he stands out above pretty much all active candidates right now. And
results matter.
Yeah,
they
do. But it doesn't work with everybody, and there's going to be a reason why you don't hire everybody and you do hire one, and it's fine. But you've got to go. You got to go find somebody better. And if it was just about finding the best and paying them, you'd be Texas. And you're not.
Brad, you may be able to answer this, Brad, but going back to when I was covering Rice and they had the search after Wayne, stepped down, there were always names that came up, and I've always been fascinated. I've never met Sean Allen, and I'm not sure all the ties and stuff, but every year, and this is going back at least 14 years, because he was up a candidate for the Rice job at one point, but it seems like that's a name that UH fans always seem to go to. And I know things evolved, and you shouldn't maybe be looking at the same candidates all the time, maybe some fresher name, but the Sean Allen name and the infatuation with him being considered, I've never understood that. Maybe somebody can enlighten me on what I'm missing there.
Ryan?
Oh, me? Oh, okay. Sean was a bulldog of a second baseman. I loved the way he played. He played bigger than his talent. You had a lot of guys like that. You had Brandon Caraway at shortstop in that era. Center fielder was Eric. What was his last name, Brad? Fast. Willie Mays Hayes Fast. I can't remember. His dad's name was Woody.
Yes.
I can't remember his last name. But just guys that played above their talent. And Sean was that. Sean is from the Rayner Todd tree. He is similar to them in attitude, vibes, whatever you want to call it. I think U of H needs to make a break from that style, that group, and go find somebody else. It does not have to always be an alum. And your best coaches aren't. Carl Lewis accepted. But you've got to, thank you, Eric Lee. God, I don't know why I couldn't remember Lee, but I did not.
We called it E-Lee.
Yeah. But I Sean's a good guy. He's a good baseball guy, but I think you've got to go in a different direction at this point. You just can't.
And
so it
his
was the
name
U of
always
H
comes-
ties. That's kind of where it's been. He's one
Right.
of, he's one of them.
And he was
there's
he
a
was
history.
here at the highest level of success in this program.
Right.
And so I think he's the only college coach from that era that played in that era. So people associate him with that. Maybe not with, he was fired from his last job. Not that was on him because they needed a scapegoat at Texas. But
I've seen some U of H fans calling to bring Noble back. And come on.
I have not seen that, thankfully. But that's never
Well, the
happened.
good thing with Eddie coming in, Eddie has no ties previously. He's got a resume that has stretched to several conferences. He knows the landscape. So he's not tied or locked in or handcuffed to having it to be some type of tie. Now, with ADs, when you go out and hire, some of the first things you look at are if there's a connection to him, maybe from LSU or whatever. But there won't be a Pesman situation where there were some ties to U of H. They knew this guy. This is going to be somebody from the outside. It's going to be somebody that's got no ties to Houston, we would expect. And I think that's really the good part about Eddie, because he is bringing a new perspective, a new look on how they're going to look at coaches and who they want to even interview for the job.
Yeah. I hope they talk to a lot. I hope Eddie talks to a lot of people. Because I think that's what it's going to take. I think you need to hear from a number of quality candidates to hear their pitch. What are they going to bring to the table? Because I think Eddie's going to do whatever he can to make this hire successful. as far as this, as far as all the sports goes, I think women's basketball was a very important hire, but I think baseball can have a bigger impact. So I think the baseball hire is going to be important.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of
You
your
gotta-
three big sports.
You got to get it right. Baseball's not I don't see it as a moneymaker here, but it can't be a loss leader here. It can't just drain the coffers, because you're going to be spending more. I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to get whatever coach you're going to get, I think Todd was on 350 his last two contracts. You're going to need to be around. You're going to need to be around the 500K on the head coach. That's just kind of where the market is. You might need to go over for the right candidate. Who knows? But I mean, you're going to be in the $500,000 per year going forward. That's just kind of the way it goes.
You're paying $600,000 for a women's coach, women's basketball. If you think baseball is more important, and I mean, if it's not more important, it's kind of right there. So the number should be 600 for the right guy. Matthew Mitchell was somebody you could not dream of getting. And I mean, that was a situation that just presented itself kind of like Kelvin did 13 years ago. But if you can get that, you go get that. But you don't throw 600,000 at the number 3 guy at SMU, and they don't even have baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go.
Matthew Mitchell was a steal.
Yes.
You do not get a coach like that 5 years ago. No way. And he wanted to get back into the game. So finances and stuff, it works out because if he does a good job here, he'll get that money back on the back end. There'll be extensions. There'll be ways to to add the incentives. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that.
I would. I don't want this to happen, except it would be hilarious. I want to see Ryan's head explode when Paul Maneri is named head coach.
There's some history there, Ryan.
He was LSU coach.
Oh, I know that. Is there some history?
No. I thought of him and Brian Kelly as the same guy, baseball and football. And they just were, neither were ever a fit at LSU. Just culturally, just never fit. And Maneri showed it at South Carolina. He got fired when we were in OKC. It was Friday of the OKC or Saturday morning of the OKC weekend. He got let go in the middle of the season, which never ever happens at a school like that. And he was a year and a half into a contract, and they were like, "Yeah, we got to go." That's a no.
One thing that I haven't touched on is we're not going to be alone in this market. Texas Tech's going to be on the market too. So that could possibly be a factor with Pat Hallmark. But then again, I don't know. Maybe he's happy and just wants to build a powerhouse. He wants to turn UTSA into the modern version of Long Beach State. Who knows? But I mean, I look at the top 25 or top 40 in RPI. So many small schools out there. That's one thing baseball has the ability to do is a lot more teams are going to be competitive. There's no reason why we can't be them.
I saw Kendall Rogers mention the Tulane coach, whose name is Jay Ullman.
That was a fake account.
That was a parody account.
Okay, that's good because that's got to be a Tulane.
It was a Kindle instead of Kendal. It was Kind. So it was a fake account.
Okay, because that guy is not going in the right direction. This is his first job, not going in the right direction.
Well, I mean, considering he finished dead last in conference this year.
Yeah, there is that. Brad, would you ever consider if Tech fires Tim Tadlock? He had a run.
Something's gone wrong there, and it's not just 1 or 2 seasons. You're talking about multiple seasons of them climbing down into the cellar. And
Yeah,
I mean,
3 years.
We were fighting them tooth and nail for that last place spot this year, and man, thankfully we pulled it out. So we stand alone. I thought they were going to try to join us, but there comes a time when coaches sell by date hits, and when it hits, it is over.
Yep.
Gene Stevenson found that. Gene Stevens, one of my favorite coaches of all time. He found that level. Paul Maneri was great for a long time, but he finally, good Lord, look at the disaster he'd had at freaking South Carolina.
I mean, Augie Garrido got pushed out, and that guy won 4 World Series titles. Yep. It happens. Tim Tadlock made the College World Series 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 years at Texas Tech. That does not happen, especially in the era that he did it. But just like with Rayner, and maybe Todd to a certain extent, there is a point where you stop making the extra call, or stop taking the extra visit, or stop watching the extra film. And the result of that shows up a hell of a lot faster than you realize. And what you have at basketball and in football is the guy that watches 3 more videos than the other coach, or makes 2 more phone calls than another coach. Those are guys that just eat and live their sports. And sometimes you just fall out of that habit. And, it happens with money, and it happens with, your kids get older. You want to be a part, you want to do that. There are a lot of reasons, but it just does fall apart sometimes.
And I think one of the things that has made Kelvin who he is, and even Willie to the same extent, these guys are adapting to changing environments. They're adapting to different kinds of kids. They recruit them differently. They coach them differently. They've evolved along with the game. I think I'm not comparing anybody to Saban, but what made Saban as great as he was for as long as he was, is he was willing to completely change everything he's done. He completely revamped his defense to defend the air raid in the spread offenses. He completely revamped his offense to adapt to the type of athletes that were on offer, to go to more of a spread. If you're not evolving with the game, and you're not evolving with your approach and how you deal with players, eventually you're going to get passed by, because every year there's new coaches coming in, new ideas, new metas, if you will. If you're not changing with it, you're going to get left behind. And for the older coaches who might be a little bit more settled and more complacent, or apt to be more complacent, it's a tidal wave.
Yeah. Nick Saban came to LSU in December of 1999. Over the next year, while he was building it, they lost to Louisiana Monroe. No, they lost to maybe UAB. Lost to somebody. He was trying to build a culture and get everybody on the same page that this is not what it was. We have to go beyond. He had his coaching staff work 51 of 52 weekends in the first year. And he said, years later, the only reason we didn't work the last one is because Christmas was on a Saturday. So he brought in a whole new dimension in the 2000 season. The 2001 season, they won the SEC. They won a national title 2 years later. You went from the last 2 LSU teams were horrible. Last 3, really, that Jerry DiNardo had. And the culture was gone. The fans were gone. Everything was. And then you bring in this weird looking guy with big glasses from Michigan State, northern guy. He doesn't know the culture at LSU. He doesn't understand. Willie figured it out pretty fast.
Yep.
He did. And that's what you need. You need a culture changer. I think everything in the baseball program is broken and needs to be replaced. And there are going to be things that may not be broken that get replaced because they are associated with what you've seen for 7 years, which is failure. It's just failure. And Todd is a great guy, but it didn't work. And it didn't work for a lot of years. And he got more chances than most people would get because he was an alum. But if you're going to compete in the Big 12, those days are over. Going back real quick, I'm overthinking, oh, that's pretty cool. Ryan is getting a fan to ask a question. Yeah, we had a fan on. That was really cool to see. Kelvin has praised her time and time again. He said, right after he said we're poor, he was kind of walking it back. We were at practice. I think I was standing there with Duarte. And Kelvin just says, oh, no, we're great. Look at Willie. He's great. He's awesome. And then right after Willie, he said, look at our women's golf coach. She is elite. And then went on to talk about it. And I just was so struck by that. And I sent it to Lydia at the time. And she was like, is this AI? Are you fooling with me? But they're really cool with each other. And I know what they each mean to each other. I mean, Kelvin knows everybody and's been around everybody. But her is the first time. This is her first head coaching job. She looks up to him and loves him. And that was really fun for us to do, to surprise her on that.
Ryan, since women's golf is doing so well and it's such a great story, the Leonie Harm story, right? That she was referring to, right?
I know exactly. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I am the number one women's golf reporter at U of H. Thank you. No one matches me in women's golf.
Well, it's fascinating. And I was thinking about it because when she was talking, I did a Google search. And back in, I think it was probably 2015 or 16, I wrote a story.
16.
Yeah, she's not supposed to be alive. I mean, she was supposed to be dead. It's a wild. She was back home overseas, and she got hit by a drunk driver who was going about 50 miles per hour. And a friend of hers who had Army training
She was on foot.
Yeah, she was on foot.
She was not hit in a car.
No, she was hit by the car while she was on foot. The car struck her. And a friend of hers who had Army training was at a bus stop down the street and got there early because she wanted to take a smoke. And Leonie got hit, suffered a collapsed lung, broken hip, ribs, head injuries. And she said that cigarettes, the line she gave me was cigarettes are supposed to kill people, but that one saved her because her friend happened to be there early because of the cigarette and ended up being able to keep her alive until the paramedics got there. And she can't hear out of one ear anymore, but that didn't affect her golf game. She one of the greatest.
To pay.
Yeah.
She won the American 2 years after that. She played either in the first or the second Augusta National Women's Invitational. She was a great player here. She won a British Amateur, I think. And then she finished second at this tournament that she won today. She finished second at 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. She finished second in another. She's, it takes a lot to go from a college golfer to a professional golfer because of the lifestyle. Because it is 8 hours of practice a day, and then you go sit in a hotel room alone. It's unlike other teams or other sports because you just spend so much time alone. And a lot of players on this level, she's in the ladies European tour, don't have caddies or push their own cart or get a caddy locally because they can't afford to have one travel. And so you don't have a support system and it's rough. And she has, I mean, she went from that that injury, that accident in 2016 to 2 years later competing at the highest level in college. She was the first NCAA player here. She went, I think she went 3 times. She went to Augusta. She won big tournaments, and then went into a pro career that is gaining. And it's really hard to get on the LPGA tour, but she has the opportunity if she wants to do it. She might like living at home, in Germany. I don't know, but I did not know that she stays with Lydia when she comes back here. I think that's a really cool story. So yeah. Okay, boys, I have been here 96 minutes. I told Towns I wasn't staying all night. I am committing to that. We just got into the weeds with Todd a little bit. Thank y'all so much for having me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed tonight. We will do this again sometime soon, but not that soon. Now that we're getting Mom into the shape where she can, she's good. I'm going to go on vacation a little and escape. And we'll see y'all again very soon. Star Pizza. They will meet you where you are. Go get your Star Pizza. That veggie crap, the salads that Jayme eats, the salads that Brad pretends to eat. Go get you some Star Pizza. Talk with Martin about OV season. Duarte's coming back. And that's my key or cue to leave.
Good job, Ryan. Everybody give Ryan a round of applause. W's in the chat for Ryan. Good job, buddy.
Don't be an asshole.
I'm serious. You did a good job.
Okay. Thank you.
See, you can't tell when I'm serious and when I'm not. So, Martin, coming to the stage. What do we got, man? I seen you pumping out some articles.
Yeah, so you guys can hear me, right? Ryan had me muted.
Yes, sir.
Because I was
apparently you're
pounding away at the keyboard. Yeah, so OV season is in full swing at the moment. Other schools are already having kids on campus. The first set for Houston will be May 28th through the 30th. So that'll be the first set of OVs for the Cougars. First weekend where kids are on campus. Been trying to talk to the commits, obviously, to get their perspective on what the recruiting process was like, who they're talking to, what the staff does to recruit them, just get some insight. But also been trying to hit, especially recently, spotlight guys that are not committed but have official visits scheduled, and try to target the guys that I think actually could become Houston Cougars and not just guys that they've offered. Xavier Muhammad is not an example of that, unfortunately. He's going to Michigan. Congratulations to him. But in the last week, the Aiden Ray story was posted. I interviewed him. He's a tackle from the Dallas area. He's got a pretty interesting story and plan for college. He wants to do pre-med while he's playing college football. So that in itself is going to be interesting. And yeah, it's an admirable path, but it's going to be tough.
Towns, you did a pre-med while you were playing baseball, right?
Well, yeah, it was usually after hours, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, we didn't get into that part of it, but yeah, the kid wants to be an anesthesiologist, which, like I said, and he's 6'8", so he's probably going to be the biggest anesthesiologist in the country if that pans out that way.
Now that's actually really cool, man. A dude who knows what he wants to do, especially willing to go that route. It tells you kind of where the guy's mindset is.
Yeah, when I interviewed him, he was still in the scrubs. I guess they do like a class where he can shadow medical professionals while he's in high school. So he's getting not necessarily hands-on training, because I'm sure they're not letting him do anything, but he's there watching what's going on.
Badass.
But some other interviews that should be coming up. I talked to Braden White from Shepherd, and Thomas. I don't want to butcher his last name, but it's Muiruri, a kid from Eaton, also in the Fort Worth area. And those are kids that have official visits scheduled as well. Talk to them. don't want to give away too much because we haven't posted this stuff yet and want you guys to actually read it. But I will say that Cougs are in good. The Cougs are in good standing with him. The 3 kids that I talked to, including Aiden in the last week, basically it's the Cougs and another team competing for the top spot. So, like I said, I don't want to just talk to people that they've offered. I'm trying to get, insight from kids that are actually going to potentially end up playing in TDECU Stadium at some point, and not as opponents. But there's some big players to still pay attention to. Not that these guys aren't, but like your Alvin Mosley's, for example. I think they're still very much in the hunt for him, despite I believe it's Ole Miss, Texas, Houston, and the other team is escaping me. But there's a 4th team. But I think Houston has a legitimate chance. They've been recruiting for a while. They've done a good job. He's going to have an official visit. So there's high profile kids like that. But more to the point of what you guys were saying with the baseball team, and kind of what Willie and his son Wes have already done, and with how they've built the roster is, everybody has some level of money with revenue sharing, but I think Wes Fritz has done a good job of pinpointing talent that other schools aren't necessarily on yet. And while that does require the eye to do that, to find the talent, it's smart because if you find a kid and you're one of 3 offers, you're probably not in the bidding war for him. So if there is a kid that you are in good standing with, I don't know numbers, so I'm not going to speak to the fact that like Alvin Mosley is an expensive player, but he probably is, relative to the competition. It gives you an opportunity to go all in on a kid like that if you're doing a good job of filling out your roster and your recruiting class with kids that are being overlooked. So by nature of what we've talked about with the Louisiana kids who are just not as front facing because people don't necessarily know where to recruit there, or those kids aren't getting to camp as much as the metropolitan areas and your bigger states. That's an advantage for them that they can go get kids like that other people just haven't had the chance to see.
That's an interesting point that I didn't really even think about as far as getting an advantage of getting on a guy sooner rather than later, because I guess the way I view it is if you get on them early, you qualify kind of their expectations financially, and then you're able to sell the program. Whereas if you're late, you're going to have to achieve a dollar amount that they're not even going to listen to what you're talking about because so-and-so came in with a 2 times higher offer than what you're capable of doing. So you get the real pitch, you get the real opportunity to tell them of all the benefits of coming here. And when other people come and hit them with money later on, you've at least got your locks in.
Right.
Giving you a shot.
And Raiden Cook is a great example of that. You gonna say something, Jayme?
No, that's who I was going to ask you about. The internet's been telling me for over a year now that Texas Tech doesn't recruit the same type of players as U of H, but it sure seems that they're on Raiden Cook. So I was going to ask you what the latest was there.
Yeah, I try to talk to him regularly. I try to talk to as many of these kids as I can just so I am not coming on over here, telling you guys what I think is happening. I'd rather tell you what I know is happening. But, as much as I can speak to confidently, I think Raiden Cook is going to be a Cougar. There's a lot of time between now and December. And if it comes down to a dollar amount, I'm not going to knock anybody for taking the higher amount of money. That's just kind of logic. These guys are doing it at the end of the day to make a living at some point. So if somebody's going to present that to them sooner, then that's just what it is. But again, to the point of being in first and establishing that bond with somebody, and you're validating their ability and their talent before anybody else. Every kid that I've talked to that's attached to the program, whether it's as a commitment or a kid that's going to take an official visit, loyalty matters to them. Because Raiden Cook, just to kind of beat a dead horse there, when I went to the Rivals camp, I he had a handful of offers, and Houston was the best relative to, as my wife would say, TV schools, P4 type offers. And I told him then, I was like, hey man, this is good. This is only going to skyrocket. You were just the best player at a rivals camp. But he told me then, like, hey, I hear from Texas to some level. I hear from these big programs, but them coming in, and it's not to say that they're not doing a good job of recruiting, but what he was conveying to me was they're not just going to show up as a brand and it's going to move me. Like, they're going to have to do as much as Houston has done to recruit me and build the same kind of relationship that Houston has done to this point. And it's not just going to be like, all right, you've built a relationship for a year with, Coach Giles and the Fritzes and the recruiting staff. Well, here's, triple what they might be able to even offer you. Just come play for us. And he might just be a number there. Now, I don't think that's true with him because I think he's going to be a 5-star recruit, label-wise by the time it's all said and done. But, Houston is they set the groundwork really well. All these kids tell me that it's the number one thing is the loyalty that they've established with Houston and how often they hear from them, from the get-go. They're like, we want you here, which everybody's telling them that, of course, that's what recruiting is. But, what Braden White told me was at some point there's like a plateau with schools. Like, they tell you they want you, they reach out, they offer you the scholarship, and you're kind of the honeymoon phase, for lack of a better way to describe it, where it's like, you can't keep your hands off of each other, but then things will dissipate. And with Houston, that doesn't happen. They're there at all times. They let these kids know that they're a priority, and that's how they're winning. That's how they're getting these kids. And it's probably going to be the trend for a few more seasons where you see that they're recruiting a kid or being the first to offer a kid who becomes a 4 or 5-star rather than winning a 4 or 5-star, when they're a sophomore coming in at that point. It's going to be your Raiden Cooks. It's going to be your Keyshawn Hendersons, who they were recruiting before people valued him as a quarterback. It's going to be those kinds of stories, until they've established themselves more and there's just more money to throw around. I don't necessarily think they're going to change their tune because it's working. But maybe in the future they'll be able to, punch it up in a different weight class as wins continue to happen.
Right. And as the if we move to a 2014 playoff, we start moving into us being playoff teams, the profile goes up. I know why the big boys don't like the thought of a 2014 playoff, because all of a sudden a lot of people get legitimate and well, that just ruins college football for some people. That, my God, there's more than 4 teams out there. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I think the case study is Keyshawn Henderson and Paris Melvin. They could have gone a lot of different places for a lot more money, but the relationship was established. And from a player perspective, unfortunately, a lot of people don't learn until it's too late that trust in the coaches that you have and guys that you can believe in and guys that you get a feel who value you more than just kind of what you can do for them. It's hard to tell a lot of times through recruiting, but you want to go where people have your best interest at heart. And sometimes it's not the guy who's going to just come in at the last minute and say, here's a big fat check, because you know why they came to you so late? Because the top 4 guys on their board said no.
Yeah. I mean, it's, more like good for Texas Tech that they have Cody Campbell. They get to do that. They get to play that game. I'm sure it's fun for the fans. They're in it for whoever they want. There's no asking price they can't meet. But I just think the way that the Fritz era is going and the way that they recruit, it's going to mean more to fans, I think. The people that are truly paying attention to the recruiting trail and the effort that we put into to present the stories that we have, that we're able to have access to, these kids are going to mean more. I think a kid like Cale Thigpen, who committed already from Jersey Village, he's the kind of kid that you're going to look back on like, man, you remember the big play Cale Thigpen made, to win the conference championship or something like that. Like, these kids are bought in already. And I think if you pay attention to them and you watch them go through their journey and, the commitment that they make to the team, and they're not going to bounce at the first sign of trouble or not getting on the field. Like, I just think it's harder than like you drafting a kid to like the Texans or something if you're a fan of a pro team, because you see their development a little differently. But with recruits, going to spring games, going to the practices and stuff like these, it's a different feel. Even than I've been in the building as somebody being paid to recruit these kids, and it feels different than when I was doing it. The perception and the feel around the team, it just feels like they're bought in a way that I didn't experience with recruits.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of the double-edged sword that I don't think a lot of people, from a fan perspective, I don't think they really look at is, as a fan, you love to have a Cody Campbell where you'll go out and just money whip somebody and grab the whatever the hottest guy is, and that's great. That's fantastic. But if you're a player on the roster, that means they're going to replace you immediately. Even if you're doing well, they're going to upgrade over you. And some might like that, some might not. Some might welcome the competition, and I hope you have the players that do welcome that kind of competition. But that's part of the process, and it's really hard to make that decision. That's why I don't envy these kids now. Long time ago, it was a little bit easier, but these kids go through hell right now as far as recruiting goes. I don't know if I could stand it. It was much easier whenever you just got stuff in the mailbox or got a few phone calls and that was about it. But then you got social media everywhere, and now the money's flying, which is great, but could be the only check you ever get.
Yeah.
And it could be just a check to watch instead of a check to go play.
Yeah. Being paid to be a very expensive spectator. But to answer the question of Hughes sports fan on Landon Williams Callis, that is, he still does have an official visit June 3rd. He's the running back from Randall who, he has the national record in his sights if he runs for another, I think it's just about 4,000 yards this next season, which he did last year, if I remember correctly. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that the kid runs for 12,000 yards in 4 years in high school. But yeah, he was at spring practices. He's been on campus. He has an official visit.
I think we got one of those. We
Yeah.
have a couple of those on the roster.
Yeah. We talk some, but I'm not going to pretend like he and I have a great relationship. He's being courted by the country. Literally. I think he was the one that actually posted a graphic, and it was like 70 offers. And I don't even think that was all of them. Like, I don't know that anybody hasn't offered him at this point.
Wow.
At this point, you got to offer him just because everybody else is.
Yeah.
There's only 130 teams in Division I, so hell, what's another one?
Yeah. It says a lot that the staff is even getting him on campus. That's a big deal. Having him set for an official visit, he could decide to commit somewhere between now and then, but I get the feeling he's going to take all his official visits. He's gonna see what it is that's being offered. He had an SMU visit, I believe, already, and maybe he also visited Indiana. But yeah, just to give you an idea of who he's being courted by. He's the national champions.
It sounds so weird to say Indiana and being a big time deal to
Crazy.
My entire life, Indiana was
adorable. Yeah. But
just up until about 3 years ago.
Really up until NIL became what it is. They're watching all the games, the commentary on it was, about how just truly how the fan base is what flipped it, because they have the biggest
alumni base.
In the country. And so just a small amount of money from every alumni member, is going to give you a big pool of money to spend on kids. But it's not to say that they're just throwing money around. It's not really the case. Signetti brought so many guys with him from James Madison, and they did what they did. They went to the playoffs 2 years straight and won the national championship last year. So, and he's taken, like, Fernando Mendoza was at Cal, and he wasn't bad. Obviously, people wanted him, but he's not just going, like, it's not like he just pulled DJ Lagway away from Florida or something like that, or like names that you constantly hear. They're doing a great job, but having the money to the resources to go get the guys that you actually want,
right?
And not that you feel like you need to compete for. It's huge.
And one of the fringe benefits I see of recruiting, shooting your shot with top recruits, some of them you're probably not going to get, right?
Sure.
But you never know what happens in a year or two.
Right. We used to say RTT, recruit to transfer. You don't want to burn a bridge. You don't want to scoff because a kid didn't choose you, or show how salty, or of course you're pissed when he doesn't pick you because he's a good player and you want him to come play for you. But you can just maintain that relationship. Of course, legally, once they go to the other school, you don't communicate with them because that wouldn't be cool. So of course you would never do something like that. But you maintain that connection on Twitter so that when they do hit the portal, you can just send the DM.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's if you're burning bridges with recruits because they're spurning you and you're not, they're not taking, they're not going to your school right off the bat. It's kind of, it's like you mentioned with double-edged sword before. Like, you don't want to cower to 18-year-olds, but you also don't want to lose an opportunity to make your team better in the future because you were mad for 5 minutes. So
when you look, it's like U of H with Dedan Thomas. Whenever he was coming out of high school, he was the heir apparent behind with Jamal. He could have been a guy that you bring in for a year and then he takes over and runs the show. But you recruit him hard, and he takes another route. And as much as it might sting that they take a different opportunity, eventually it might come back around. And in football, I think that can work especially well. Somebody takes a big offer from someone else, congratulate them, pat them on the back. Hey, still love you. That's not going to change.
Especially in football with just the Houston kids that might want to go off to an Ohio State or somewhere, like that. And then they see what Keyshawn does next year, and it's time to come back and play with him.
When it's the honest recruiting approach. You're not going to blow smoke up a dude's ass. You're going to tell him the truth. You're going to show them who you really are. Show them that you truly care about them. And if a kid goes somewhere and has to sit, or things don't go well, and they want out, they're going to remember who really liked them and who's going to give them that extra, that nice feeling that they might want to come back to. So I mean, you're recruiting for today, but you're recruiting for, as long as they're eligible.
Yeah, and it's not quite the situation we're talking about, but an interesting example. When I was on staff, we were recruiting a kid named Serene Tunkara out of Clear Springs. I think he was out of Clear Springs at the time, but Spring, Texas, defensive end. Coach Brian Early really liked him. He ended up going to Missouri, I believe, and then transferred to Cal. But he had a little brother who he would bring on those visits named Muiz Tunkara, who went to Florida out of high school, and he transferred back home to Houston. Now, different staff, but Casey Smithson was my boss at the time. He's still on staff. I'm sure that didn't hurt. Hey, you remember we had you on campus with your brother. You had a good time. Like, There's
Right.
relationships you can build along the way. And again, you don't want to burn those bridges. You don't want to treat anybody poorly because they moved on or decided something else was a better opportunity for them. And here they are. Moise is, in my opinion, primed for a huge year. But that's a situation where you kind of keep in the Rolodex for if something comes up later, you can reach back out because you have established a relationship.
Yeah. So what do you got? What do you got in the future profiles for recruits?
So a lot.
Looking all the party
I would
people
say.
be looking forward to.
Yeah, so I'm constantly reaching out to the kids, prior to their official visits, trying to see who I can talk to. Got some more interviews set up. A lot of the same thing as far as profiling spotlights, the way that I have been. I am interested in potentially starting like starting on the 2028 class, kids that they've offered, because there's a lot of crossover between guys that I spotlight for my day job with Catapult Sports. We do a weekly spotlight of like guys that I think are under recruited who haven't been offered yet. And 6 months later, they get an offer from U of H because it's their springtime. It's the time that they can actually see the kid in person. So I kind of like the idea of us going down the route of maybe spotlighting some of the younger classes, maybe even some guys that aren't necessarily on Houston's roster, but I'm trying to, or radar, but I'm trying to predict ahead. And just I don't think it's the worst idea for us to be ahead of the game on the Houston area as far as recruits go. So I kind of want to potentially go down the line on that, and maybe there will be an official visit like preview, just to give the fans an idea of who's going to be there for that weekend. I am trying to. That's why I was typing so fast, because I'm reaching out to all these kids trying to make sure I have their official visit dates, correct, and know who to expect. Because as some of these guys commit, for example, Xavier Muhammad had an official visit scheduled, but he's obviously not taking that anymore because he's committed to Michigan. I reached out to him to confirm if he was still going to visit, and he said no. I think as a part of Michigan being like, we're offering you, if you want to come here, you can come here, but we're calling it on recruiting. You're not taking other visits. It's like you're going to be a Wolverine, which is understandable.
Must be nice to lay that down to a recruit.
I'm not saying
we appreciate you committing. Your official visits are over.
And I'm not quoting that he said that, but I'm kind of reading between the lines there that that's probably what happened.
Hey man, if I'm in their position, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're
all
in here.
We're going to close this spot on our board, so that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the game is the game. Both sides have to do what's best for them. So
absolutely.
But yeah, that kind of stuff. I'll try to get more of these profiles for the guys that I think have a chance to end up in a Cougar uniform, and then try to do some predictions on the future. Maybe pull out a crystal ball, not in the sense of the way that 24/7 does it, but just try to get an eye on who's probably going to be on the radar. And then just maybe some spotlights with just Houston area kids that I think need the attention.
Sweet. Anybody in the chat, if you have any requests or anything, let us know. I'm not saying we're going to do it, but we definitely want to cater to what you guys are looking for and try to hope to for the best provide what you guys want to see. Check it out at GoCoogs.com/recruiting. See what Martin's got coming up.
100%. If people want to tag me in their tweets or something and say, how come we're not talking about this? Or what do you guys, why don't you do a story on that? Again, not saying we're going to do it, but if it's a good idea, well, of course we'll run with it.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to just be talking into space and nobody wants to hear what I'm saying. I would rather it be something that people want to hear. So please,
absolutely right.
Please give us that feedback. But I guess the last thing I'll say about the recruiting part, there's a kid in the 2028 class, I believe. I want to get it right. But he is one of my favorite watches. He just recently got a UTEP offer, and I think it's one of his 3 offers. He went to a camp with Houston last year. His name is Nezare Guy, I believe, but he's at Willis. Nazare Guy. So he is listed as a linebacker receiver, but he's going to end up being like a outside linebacker, maybe like a rush in kind of player. He's still putting on weight because he was playing cornerback and receiver, and he's just one of those kids. Eventually they sprout, they get bigger, they just move inside. But he's got some bend to him. He can really rush the passer. He's explosive. I think he's still figuring out tackling people. He kind of just runs to ball carriers, and he's right. I mean, he just explodes to the ball. But he's somebody that I think is going to be really, really good at the next level once he just puts it all together as far as just being comfortable. He's a 2028. So that's the kind of kid that I'm referencing, like kid to keep your eye on. I think he told me he's going to go back to the Houston camp. So this will be 2 years for him going to Houston summer camps.
Very nice.
And so, it's a good way. That's, if they like him, he's going to be there. He'll probably leave with an offer. And then we'll be in a year, we'll probably be saying like they established this relationship then. So, but yeah, that's just to kind of, I guess, go out on a limb with this kid. I think he's going to be somebody.
Martin, just I don't know if we have any like future recruit parents on here, but how important is it to you to have a kid go to camps, to the summer camps in front of the coaches that they want to play for?
So the camp game is an interesting thing because, to be blunt about it, I mean, I don't know if it's as a surprise to anybody, but camps are a way for programs to make money. It's just what it is, right? I mean, they have thousands of kids go to these camps over the course of, close to 1,000. I'd say over the course of 4 or 5 days, depending on your school and depending on the size of the camp. But if you are a kid, for example, from a Shepherd High School like Braden White, or even a Barbers Hill like Raiden Cook, who is just, they're not getting as much traction or traffic as other schools like a North Shore, it's important to go to a camp, I think, especially if you're a kid that wants to play at Houston. Houston really values those camps.
Yeah.
They take them seriously for evaluating the talent there, because these kids register, they're going to have these kids marked for, oh, we like their film, but is he really 6 feet tall or is he 5'10"? That kind of stuff. It's an opportunity to confirm a measurement. It's an opportunity to see how he actually moves through the drills that football drills are football drills, but the coaches are seeing how they move for what they think can translate to their system. So yeah, I mean, if you think, your kid is any good, if you think that they have an opportunity to play at the next level, yes, going to Houston, especially if you want to play at Houston, being there for their camps, it's a big deal. It's huge. I can't speak to what they're doing this year, but like last year, Houston's camps were closed off. If you weren't a part of the staff or you weren't participating, they weren't letting people come in. They weren't, they like I said, they really value it. They take those opportunities to evaluate the kids that are there. So no, camps are a big deal. And just to widen the scope a little bit, the name of it is escaping me at the moment, but the huge camps like I think TCU and maybe SMU, I think it's just TCU, but they do them, and it's like 20 or 30 colleges are there to watch the kid.
Yeah.
Like going to those things are important as well, because
right,
maybe your kid isn't P4, but maybe Murray State is there and they think your kid can play for them. It's still free school, man. Like go. So yeah, camps are good. The spring cycle where these coaches are visiting these kids while they're working out or doing spring ball, that's very valuable. That's where you see a lot of offers start to go out on your 2029s, 2028s. And then camp season is big for a school can confirm this kid is that big. He is this way. He can move in these, for these specific positions that we think will translate for us.
right.
And a not secret for parents of young folks out there that might be using this information. It's a chance for coaches to get an up close look at how you act when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
There's always people watching, by the way, just because you don't see them, but they're watching the little bitty small things, because I can watch and I can see, your speed. That's always going to shine through. But if I'm a coach and I'm trying to decide of the type of guy that fits my culture, I'm watching what you're doing off the field. I'm watching how you're interacting with everybody, with other campers, with other coaches. When you're just standing around, what are you doing? It's those little bitty things that set you apart, and you know you want to make sure that you're adding kids that fit your culture, and nothing shows that more than the stuff after the whistle, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an evergreen sentiment. You know, you just you want to handle things well. If you lose a rep in one-on-ones, if you don't run the 40 you think you wanted to, don't tell the coach he's wrong. Like little stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's essentially a job interview, for lack of a better way to explain it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I once had a scout pull me aside and say, "You need to fix your body language."
mhm.
I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, "I know what you throw. I know what you do on the field. I know everything about you as far as your player ability. I don't like what I'm seeing I don't like your body language." And that's screaming everything about you. I'm like, "Ooh, shit. I didn't even think of that."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome, Martin. I appreciate it, man. Everybody, Section 12X, 26% off, celebrating 2026. Golf's going to the NCAA finals. Head over to section12x.com. Everything, all your gear. Got to look fly for the summer. Got something for every single occasion. Go hit them up and drain them of all that merchandise, man. Let's do it.
For sure.
Jayme.
I got one more note. I'm sorry. Then I'll let y'all do the basketball thing. Fun note. If you guys are concerned about the kind of size they're recruiting at offensive tackle, Thomas Moy-Rory would have been number 2 in this year's combine, and I think maybe even the entire draft class for offensive linemen in both wingspan and arm length, behind Markel Bell, who was 6'9", 380. So just they're doing their best, guys. They're trying to get the length that they can at these positions.
Hey,
Nice.
that's freaking great to hear.
Yeah.
Jayme,
right.
what do we got?
Thanks,
guys,
guys.
going on in basketball? I heard there was something going
See you,
on
brother.
this past week. Thank you, Martin. What was going on this last week, buddy? I heard there was some kind of basketball stuff going on.
Yeah, something
Kind
where
of combine thing.
they were making people jump and run and timing them, and they were wearing weird jersey numbers. And Combine week, one of my favorite weeks of the year. Coogs had they were tied for first with the most participants with Arizona and Arkansas. So that's a huge honor having 4 guys represent the program. So yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, anytime you can have 4 guys at the NBA Combine, it's a good thing. So sucks not having them back, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they're gonna go in the draft. I don't want them going to other places, but draft, that's okay. I can take it
for sure.
So apparently Kingston failed in his reach. His wingspan apparently is way too small. So nope, it's over.
Allegedly,
doesn't have to go back to college and figure a way to stretch.
Yeah, apparently he's a T-Rex from everything that I read this week.
You know, the funny thing is that as far as the guys that he was comped to, is Mikael Brown at Louisville and Darius Acuff. You know, he's got like 4 inches shorter arms or whatever. His wingspan's 4 inches shorter. But when they did the standing reach, they were all exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like,
who cares? Like, what are we doing? Like, so we're gonna put Mikael Brown over him, who I know he's a good player. I know he is, but he has back issues. That can bite you in the butt at the next level. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. was supposed to be the number 1 pick in whatever draft he was in. And because he had back issues, he dropped to like 15. And he's finally, 10 years later, figuring it out a little bit. But I mean, he struggled early on being able to even stay on the court. So I'd rather take somebody with a little shorter wingspan that how explosive it is that he is and how it hasn't affected him one bit. But he's healthy, and
Well-
you and I talked a little bit just about the interviews that we saw, with him and Acuff, and it's just night and day. I mean, Acuff mumbles, acts like he doesn't want to be there, and then you have Kingston, who has never failed an interview. Like he's just picture perfect when he's talking to anybody at any time. So,
tell you what, man.
you're.
I am all for him falling because I saw, I looked at all the draft predictions I could possibly see. USA Today, On 3, ESPN, NBA Draft Room, Tankathon. My favorite was on Bleacher Report because it had Kingston falling all the way down to the 9th pick.
Yep.
And that puts him square in Dallas. So I am all for him falling to there.
Yeah. I'd love to see him and Cooper in that 1-2 punch for the next 20 years. But
because I mean, he would be right there with 6'2" Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
too small to play, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's absurd when, and it doesn't surprise me because you got to get as many clicks as possible. It's a reactionary world, and you get lost in the details. Everybody wants to be an analytics guru, and they don't apply what they actually see, or they actually can't even. The only thing that they know is the numbers, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
When I compare Mikael Brown and Darius Acuff and Kingston Flemings, I look at 3 completely different players. I mean, 3 completely different players, 3 completely different strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see out of Kingston's more of a true pure point.
Yeah.
He can get to the rim. He can score mid-range. But he can also be the guy who's just going to drive and dish and be a playmaker.
Yeah.
I think Acuff can do, and he's going to play defense where I don't think I don't know if Acuff could guard me.
Right.
Which is, just a quarter of a step slower than a cone. But in Mikael Brown is different than Acuff as well. I mean, you're talking about different flavors. We're talking about different flavors of ice cream, basically.
Yeah.
But one guy did test off the charts on the anthropomorphic is freaking Chris Sinak.
Big snacks.
Holy crap. See, when they're talking about doing vertical jump, I'm like, man, 41 inches, but it's a run up 41 inches. Not discounting that because, I mean, you're not going to be jumping flat footed a whole lot, but you are. But I mean, that's what whenever we talk vertical, forever, it was just standing straight and swinging your arms, jumping as high as you can.
Right.
But man, he tested through the roof. We came in at 6'10", 6'10" and a half barefoot. Thank God they play in shoes.
Impressive. I mean, he's the type of guy that can stretch the floor. I don't think he'll ever play with his back to the basket, but he does have that wingspan to defend. Slash, can shoot it. I saw the comparison to Anthony Davis today. Maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think he probably helped his stock pretty well just with the measurables. I know Fran was talking about it today and said he's been saying it all year, and he has. I mean, he's been saying he's a professional rebounder. I thought Kingston just when we saw him do the sit down interview with the staff or with the crew on ESPN, he just talked about how Chris is the one guy that if his shot's not falling, he figures out a way to affect winning on the court. He's going to go
Right.
get 12 rebounds and 2 blocks. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to remember he's 19 years old. So,
Yeah.
there's just so much in front of him that,
Well, and
He's
I look at his game, and I don't like my 6'10", 7-footers playing the perimeter, but
Right.
NBA is a different game these days. I would love to see him develop more of a back to the basket game, but you know what? He can do that.
Yeah.
If you're an NBA, you're looking long term. You're looking 5, 10, 15 years. He's got skills that are harder to teach. It's easy to scoring down low is easy. You can learn post moves, and you can learn to play your back to the basket fairly easy. Because shooting is shooting, whether it's from 6 feet or from 20. But he's got the long range game that is harder and harder to develop. So, I mean, if you look at him as a guy with long-term potential, I mean, it's got to be through the roof. And sports fan, I don't want to say anything too bad, but I do. For Chris, it's a great spot to go to Oklahoma City at 17. But me as a fan, I don't want to see that. I don't like OKC, but it is what it is. And, there's teams I don't like, and OKC is one of them. But as far as career wise go, that would be huge because he's going to be he would be playing with a lot of talent, and they're not going to ask a whole lot of him early on. And he's just a gravy guy.
Yep. For sure.
And I've seen I guess looks like Sharp and Uzon are both, a few of these projections have them going at the end of the second round, which would be great. You watched both of them in the first scrimmage. What were your thoughts?
I thought E-Man played great in the first one. Shot it really well, had a 2-hand dunk, which I don't think I've seen in a game. He had a couple of dunks this year, but they were just one hand and reach as high as I can. But he had a 2-hand dunk hanging on the rim a little bit. But he shot it really well, had 17 points in the first game, tied for the leading scorer in that one. Los played pretty well. I saw him hit two floaters, which I know you like. He looked a little bit uncomfortable from the 3. He shot it way short. So, I mean, guys don't really realize just how far that NBA line is until you get out there and see it. At the top of the key, it is out there. So he didn't really shoot many of those. E-Man, that was nothing for him because he's been shooting them for 4 years.
Oh, yeah, man. He's hitting fadeaways from the logo.
Yeah. So I think E-Man probably gets, a late round pickup. A lot of people are calling on the Rockets to get him. Who knows? But I don't know that Milos really played his way into the draft like he probably hoped. I could see him being undrafted free agent, on a little 2-way deal or G League to start, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of guys are going to have to do that. But yeah, that's probably what happens for now. He may get drafted late, just having the pedigree for playing for Kelvin, playing in a pro system for 2 years. So you never know. But
Right.
But yeah, I could see E-Man getting picked up late second round, and Los very well could too, or he could end up G Leaguing it for a little while, and that's more than fine.
I want Milos to get his swagger back.
Yeah.
Get back to being himself and playing with confidence. I think that's it. Just from outside perspective, he just looked unsure of himself a lot this year. Once he gets that swagger, start playing downhill a little bit more, he's He's a damn good player, and it's going to take what it's going to take, and it could be a blessing in disguise. Him starting off in the G League and kind of getting that. Okay, here we are. This is me again. E-Man, he's a dude that's just impacts winning, and if you're bringing if you're going to have guys sitting on your bench, you want warriors like that, and I think he fits perfect for a 3-and-D guy. You could put him on a lot of different guys to just go and just harass the shit out of them.
Yeah. I was hoping, in the scrimmages, I was hoping that Milos was going to get to be the lead point guard on whatever team he went or whatever team he was on in the scrimmages, just to show teams, I am a point guard, because he had to take the back seat to Kingston this year. And but they put him out there with Braden Smith from Purdue, who ran the point the entire time that they were out there. So they didn't really help him out there. But yeah, I think if he can get back out to just playing a pure point guard, do what I do, get the ball where it needs to go, look to get in the paint, get my floater going, and then just make wide open threes when I have them, then, he can probably make his way on a team, because he has good size. He has a lot going for him, but yeah, you're right. He just needs to get somewhere, get comfortable, and just get that swagger back.
Is Irfan is on campus, right?
That's my understanding. I haven't heard officially. I've been hearing that he's been working out with Silliman, but I don't know if that's in Houston or if they're off somewhere else. Typical Houston. I guess he's just gotten cleared from some sort of injury. I guess he had a cut on his hand and he's been out for a little while. I saw Kelvin mention the other day that he just got cleared and is good for contact now. So I'm assuming I had heard that he was coming in mid to late May, so he should be here.
I think I saw that he is, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see his development. I mean, physically, he's going to. I kind of look at it like you're going to see a physical change, kind of like you saw with Emmanuel. You're going to see a guy who is almost unrecognizable within a year.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. I don't know, I don't know how much I would try to slim him down. I think the last I saw he was at 295. If he could get to 275, I just think he is a true back to the basket, just dominating the post. When we had to sit down with a guy on the staff, he mentioned that this is the first guy that they've had really since Josh Carlton, even having J1, but really since Josh Carlton, that can control the circle on both ends of the court. So the circle being the charge circle right in front of the rim. They can stick him there on both sides of the court and just dominate. So that's their vision for him. So I don't know that they're going to drop, too much weight. But yeah, once he turns that baby fat into muscle, then he's going to be just a different animal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be he could literally stay the same weight, but his body composition is going to look completely different. Yeah,
I think they'll probably try to get a chip on his shoulder. He was the number one center in America, but got committed to Louisville the other day that reclassified from the class of 2027 to 26, and he is now the number one ranked center coming into college next year. So, maybe he plays with a chip on his shoulder and tries to show that he's the number one guy.
You see Cadeau's going back to Michigan?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he pulled his name out today.
Wow.
They're going to be loaded.
Yeah, they are.
They're going to be loaded.
Yep.
Oh,
I've loved Thiem from Cincinnati for so long, and he just kept kind of, going under the radar. I don't think he's going under the radar this year at Michigan. I think they'll turn him into like the big guy that they had that's going in the draft, whose stock seems to keep rising. Looks like he's going to go, 7 or 8 now.
Yeah, that's that's what he went from the bench at UCLA to
Yeah, lottery,
to the lottery.
high lottery. Yeah.
That's wild to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get the chance to talk about this. Y'all go with Ryan, but you go play poker with him?
Yeah, we went through cards on Friday night. Went over to Spring and got a tournament. There was 279 total buy-ins. So it was a pretty big tournament for a Friday night. $140 buy-in for 40,000 guaranteed. So it started at 5:00. I made it until 11:30. I finished 40th out of 279, and I saw him sitting at another table. I gave him a little wave, and I kept checking in, and he was still playing. And I kept checking in, and I was like, "Man, I got to go to bed. I'm tired." And he texted. I looked when I woke up the next morning and saw he finished 4th out of 279. So he had a day. I think he racked up pretty good. So.
I tell you what, man, I've been to Vegas with him in New Orleans. Anytime we go into a casino, he makes money. I don't know how he does it. Sometimes it's video poker. Sometimes it's slot machines. It doesn't matter. Whatever he's going to throw money into, he's going to come out with a win.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it because I never do. I mean, if I can just break even, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. I was so mad at the poker room because we both bought in, and I sat down and I looked at the little monitor that they had that they have on every table that shows who's at the table, and right next to me is Ryan, and I'm like, man, I'm not trying to play against him. Like, if I'm going to play against him, I want to see him like, at the final table. I don't want to play him when we first get going. But yeah, we sat next to each other. Neither one of us could get going forever. And then they did a little table breakup, and we went our separate ways. And I stayed in there for a while, and it was going good. And then I just, for some reason, when it gets late, I end up playing a little irresponsible and went all in with ace 9, and ace king was out there too. So that sent me home. But all good. Part of it.
What was your you watched the Netflix deal last night, the MVP card?
Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? That was a lot of first round knockouts. They had to do a lot of sitting and talking just to keep the show going. But my goodness,
I thought that. Well, I mean, Rousey, Carano went exactly how I expected that to be a cooked fight from day one, and turns out it looked exactly like that. Yeah. But got Gina back in shape, and she is a smoke show.
Yeah, it was good for her for sure.
Jeez, gets paid, drops 100 pounds. I didn't realize she had 100 to lose.
I didn't either. Got Rousey a house in Hawaii, she said. She said she doesn't give a shit what other people think. That got her $2.2 million, and they're going house hunting in Hawaii. So,
yeah, well, I hope she disappears because I can't stand her.
Yeah, she's the worst. I liked watching her when she was coming up, but now she's so cringy, man. Like,
yeah,
especially when she was in WWE, it was just, oh man, she just thought she was better than everybody else. But
hopefully it gets Gina back in movies.
Yeah.
She's always fun. She can pull off the action stuff.
For sure.
Which is good. Nate Diaz needs to
it's over, brother.
I don't know if it's just the pounds of weed per day or just taking an absolute beating for so many years. And last night he got bloodied. I mean, it looked like a massacre.
Yeah. I told my wife, who hates combat fighting, I was like, when they were both, doing the little videos or whatever, I was like, there's 2 total brain cells between both of these guys, and it was just a murder once they got to the ring.
Yeah, I mean it's whew. Francis Ngannou, he does what he did what he does. He just mops up tomato cans.
What do you think about Johnny Bones being there?
I mean, I know he's going to be angling to get out of his contract and trying to fight maybe to Ngannou. I don't think UFC is going to oblige, but I mean he's going to do everything he can to run from Aspinall. I mean, from a sporting perspective, I hate it, but from his perspective, I understand it because Aspinall's a threat. I'm not a fan of Aspinall, and I don't think he's great. But if he has, I mean, he matches up a lot better against Ngannou, who's not a wrestling guy, and Jones can do damage on his feet. Plus, he can actually, fight on the ground.
Yep.
And I don't think Ngannou is savvy enough of a boxer to be able to keep Jones off of him. I think Ngannou's going to try to just load up, and Bones will get in on him and just elbow him. He's going to eye poke him and kick him in the nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, do what John Jones does. I mean, he's a dirty fighter in a dirty fighting business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, all right, guys. Man, we had a good crowd tonight. I really appreciate everybody showing up. There was one comment I wanted to get back to. Jeb, I apologize for missing this until recently. You joined very late, like now late. Towns, what are your thoughts on Rob Childress as a potential replacement for Whitting? I don't know how feasible it is, but if we named him the head coach, I would be all for it. I like Rob going back years. He was a dark horse candidate at A&M. A&M wanted to hire every one of the top coaches in the country, and they ended up having to, settle for Rob Childress. And he did really well there for a long time. At some point, guys run their course, and they got a little bit stagnant, and he moved on, and they did well, and they've done well. But I would be very interested in Rob Childress. So the good thing is man, past is the past. I thought Todd did a really good job of helping build out facilities, raising money. I thought he did a very good job on that, and I tip my hat to him for doing that. As far as sporting wise goes, just wasn't there, man. And that's just the way it is. You got to make changes sometimes, and it's never pretty, but it's a winning business, and if you ain't doing it, you got to go.
Yep.
But man, things are looking. I think we're in a great spot. I think U of H has a great opportunity here, and I really hope that they take advantage of it. I believe we will. We'll see. We'll watch it play out. I think portal opens June 1st, so you're going to start seeing some movement and chatter. It looks like we're one of the first out of the box as far as making a change goes. So we've got a first mover advantage, and so we'll see. I think this job is going to be of interest to a lot of folks out there, and I think we'd be surprised at some of the people who might take an interest in it. I just hope we make a good decision and have a baseball program again. Be nice. Get back to them regionals. Start having to worry about what are we going to do in late May? What are we going to do in possibly June? I'm not asking for Big 12 titles. I'm not asking for national titles. Just get to the round of 64. If it takes a couple of years to get there, so be it. Just progress, move forward. And that's what we got to hope to do. I want to thank our sponsors, Star Pizza. Y'all, hey, them chicken Caesar salad. Those are the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all hit up their buffet, hit their happy hour. Ooh, grab some of that garlic cheese bread. Woo.
Even if you get the chicken Caesar salad, they're still going to carb you up with a couple of those breadsticks, which are just phenomenal.
Absolutely. And see, we can, unless you're going full blown keto, you can have some of that stuff, just not, not all of it. Hit the pizzas, hit the pasta specials. Section 12X, 26% off, celebrating the 2026 potential title run for U of H women's golf. Thank everybody for being on here. Thank everyone here for spending another Sunday night with us. We really do appreciate it. If you got anything that you want us to talk about, hit us up on Twitter. UHFan31, VB Towns on Twitter. Let me know. We'll see what we can get to. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Thank you again, everybody.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. F*** it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.